It's Instagram.com/IamAkademiks. You should. I think I archived the picture by now, but if you watched at the beginning of the year, I posted my Spotify Wrapped results, which if you don't know what Spotify Wrapped is, obviously I have a contract with Spotify for my podcast, but I generally use Spotify anyway, right? I listen to most music on Spotify, and what the Spotify does at the end of the year, it ranks the amount of people or who you listen to the most. You know who I listened to in 2022 more than Drake? I listened to K Flock. K Flock was my number one most listened to artist in 2022. For whatever reason, the authenticity of his music, the infectiousness of some of the the energy and the cadences that he was capturing. Also, we've seen, and I've been a little bit more tapped in than probably I've ever told y'all, like in terms of the Bronx drill music scene. I see that this guy is like as authentic and as real as it could be. At first I wasn't gonna fuck with Bronx drill, but bro, you can't help it. Me, when authenticity comes by, no matter if you agree with the message, you're gonna fuck with it. I listen to his music the most in 2022. By the way, he was locked up, I believe, in 2021, right? At the end of 2021, like December, with a murder charge. Now, it was kind of like framed in a way where it could be self-defense. I'll give you the whole gist of it. K Flock and apparently two women, apparently one was his sister, they're walking down the street in New York. Now, this is the guy who's been beefing with a lot of people in New York. He claims gangs. He says fuck other gangs. He says he's whatever gang K. Usually that means that he's down to kill on sight. But usually these younger kids, when they're saying that, everybody claims they're GDK, but nobody's killed a GD. You know what I mean? It's one of those type of things. Like you got to take it with tongue in cheek, but don't ever sleep on none of these younger kids who claim they're down to shoot and kill. They probably will, right? So again, he has issues, right? He got signed to Capitol Records, a lucrative contract. You see that watch on his wrist. It's about $25,000-$30,000. He's getting paid. His music is being streamed. He really never got to the chance to really see how much the world started loving him because he got arrested before. Now, what happened is he's walking down the street, allegedly. Not even allegedly, that's kind of known. He's walking with two women. He walks past a barbershop, apparently sees somebody that is not in the gang that he is, but he's in a gang that he's been beefing with. Apparently he says something, or maybe the guy says something to him. They have like a short back and forth, but K Flock keeps walking, right? The dude exits the barbershop saying, yo, what's good, nigga? Like, we ops, what's up? Now, unfortunately, when you a gangster, like, you can't say, hey, I'm spending time with my family, my sisters. Let's not kill each other today. Let's do it tomorrow. You got to do it all the time, right? And this is, I keep telling you, somebody got to tell me, how is it a win to be a gangster? Like, I have no idea. So anyway, the dude walks out of the barbershop, confronts him. He's with two women. And essentially, this is from what I hear. The dude basically either threatens to pull out a gun or threatens him. So the guy basically was like, yo, nigga, what's up, yo? Like, yo, I'll do it to you type shit, right? And from what I'm hearing, right, and this is inside info I'm telling y'all, the guy supposedly did either brandish a gun or show a gun to him, but basically threatened K Flock to say, yo, you know I got you right now. I could kill you, right? And K Flock allegedly say, yo, bro, chill, bro. I'm good, bro. Nigga, I ain't on shit. It's cool, bro. Like, yo, I ain't want no problems. The dude apparently then says, I bet, thought so. Turns back around and was going to walk away, but K Flock was armed. K Flock pulled his gun out, shot the dude multiple times. The dude died. Okay? That was just a story. He ran around the block. This and third. Police pulled up later. He threw the gun around the block. That's what the story is. Okay? I know some of y'all might. I'm giving you the real short of the whole thing that you don't have to go fucking watch 20 documentaries to find out what happened. They arrested him shortly after. He's been known as, from me, as the Amiri assassin. You know what I mean? The designer demon. He clapped the nigga while he was wearing like probably about $5,000 to $10,000 in clothing. His drip was spectacular. And as according to what his music actually says, even in fashion, he'll definitely still up the pistol. So nigga been telling the truth, right? However, that sounds great. Shit, I did the intro to it. I love listening to it. But according to the law, that's not going to keep you free. So he got arrested for murder. But here's the thing. He's been sitting in jail since 2021 or beginning of 2022. So over a year now. And a lot of people still believe that, yo, not only was he the second coming to what Pop Smoke was, because, you know, there's been a lot of people thought that Pop Smoke was going to be the transcendental drill artist, which means, yeah, he's lit as a drill artist, but he's bigger than a drill artist. Just like how Dirk is. Dirk isn't considered drill now. Dirk is just considered a huge artist. People thought Pop Smoke was going to be that, but Pop died. People, and I particularly thought that K Flock was going to be that guy, okay? However, again, I said he got arrested. Ever since then, people have been looking into the charges to see what's going to happen. People in a idealistic world is saying, well, maybe what happened is self-defense, right? Even though New York City kind of notoriously doesn't have self-defense rules, they're hoping that, yo, if somebody pulls up on you with a gun, right, with the gun, and they're threatening you, and even if they stop threatening you and you kill them, yo, that's self-defense. That nigga threatened you, you handle your business. What's the problem? New York City don't really work like that, okay? So a lot of people have been saying they're hoping that he's going to beat this on self-defense. What we also find out later, apparently the guy who got killed, there was a gun found in his waistband or on his person, which wasn't reported by the media, which a lot of people now have really thought maybe this guy did pull up and pull out a gun on K Flock. And let me just ask you, who hopefully is not a gangster, if somebody just pulls out a gun on you, what would you do, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit, if you have a gun yourself and you could, the moment they put their gun down, you might take out your gun and shoot them, right? That's just kind of normal. However, again, according to the laws in New York City, you can't do that. All right. However, people have been saying he has a good case. So, you know, he's been locked up a year. Who knows? Maybe he does manslaughter or he gets manslaughter, right? So it's not self-defense, but you get manslaughter. The difference between premeditated murder, you're doing life, like a second degree or a third degree murder charge, you're probably going to be doing in the range of probably between 10 to 15 to 30. And after 30, they usually just call it life, right? People were saying, well, he's going to be locked up for a while, even if he gets manslaughter and comes home in 7-8 years, K Flock's still going to be the man. If you don't know, K Flock, I believe, is very young. Let me look up his age. K Flock age, right? And this is a sad thing about it, right? These kids are very, very young. He's 19 years old. He got locked up at 18. So really, if he came home, say 7 years from when he got locked up, which would be when he was 18, he would essentially come home at 25, 26 after killing somebody. So, you know, people are looking at it like, oh, he's going to be fine. Now, I'm going to tell you why I believe that the feds have indicted him, because I read this indictment before I got on here. It's the weakest indictment I've seen in a while. By the way, I got to stop and salute to my gifted. Come on, my gifted subs are going crazy. Jesus Christ. Can't believe we already got over 100. Holy shit. I need everybody. I mean, I don't care if we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, Discord, anything. Everybody spam with a big W for Jinx 2X and 910. So Jinx 910. He gifted about like 25 damn subs. Benefited. Thank you again. And yeah, cool. All right. Why need Tugboat also thank you. Anyway, let me continue. I'm trying to give you the story here. I'm trying to give you in a very abridged portion. So essentially what happened with K Flock, right? So K Flock, a lot of people believe that there's a possibility that he could, I'm not saying beat the case, but maybe offered a good plea just for manslaughter, and he'll probably do maybe like 6-7 years, because according to what his lawyers have prepared, K Flock didn't go out to shoot the nigga, wasn't planning to shoot the nigga, but K Flock shot the dude after the dude may have threatened him, right? So again, if K Flock came back home at 25, people still think it would be a good thing. Now, this is why I think this Fed indictment came down. So if an indictment got unsealed today, and it was pretty thin. And I've read many indictments by the Southern District of New York folks, and that's the law enforcement office, the federal law enforcement office out of the Southern District. So they'll file all their indictments in the Southern District. So the FBI over there, Homeland Security over there. ATF if there's some situations like that. Any federal organization, usually when it's hip hop artists, they file in the Southern District of New York. They've never lost. Nobody's ever taken them to trial. they don't play. Actually, someone did take him to trial, which was the niggas who kidnapped 6ix9ine. They got like 40. Okay, so they're not playing around. They're not losing, and they're really on people's head to be like, yo, once we file these indictments, you're either gonna snitch or you're gonna be away for a long time. Now, I'm gonna tell you why I believe, and I'm gonna show you the indictment in a second. I believe that K Flock case in the state was looking weak. I think it was looking favorable for K Flock that he would probably get out in a few years, right? Basically, that his lawyer would keep putting forth information and evidence to the court that they would just come to K Flock and say, yo, bro, plead to manslaughter. It's going to be, I don't know, 7 to 10 years. He's going to be locked up for 3 to 4 already. He probably got to do 1.5 more years or 2 years, and he's fucking out, right? New York City is making an example out of rappers. They're not playing. They're not like, oh, this is fun. They're not getting sturdy. They'll get sturdy at sentencing. They're not caring about none of this other stuff. They watch people like K Flock. If you don't know, and I'm not trying to, this is not snitching, obviously. You could go right on YouTube and say K Flock chasing the ops. And believe me, look, he's in an Uber. Like, these are videos. That's why he's getting these charges. I kid you not. Now, did he get charged for this incident? No. But you're making New York City seem like the Wild Wild West. It's New York fucking City. Chicago, trash. This is New York City. They're not playing that at all. Dirk could never make it big in New York City. Chief Keef would never be a rapper in New York City. New York City is a different fucking monster. New York, even though they say like Chicago has one of the toughest gun laws, New York City and LA, they're not playing it, period. Chicago, I don't know what they got going on there. I think the cops, they're just underpaid. They don't give a fuck. They have a mentality of let the gangsters kill themselves, and as long as they don't kill innocent bystanders, fuck it, right? New York City, they're not waiting for that. You're not going to make the city where e-commerce and the stock market lives look like a fucking crime-infested haven to the rest of the world. And when you're now a rapper and you're going on live to say, hey, I have a gun and I'm chasing a nigga down, you're not going to do it in New York City. You can do this in Chicago. You could do this in Houston. You could do this in Miami. You will never in life do this in New York City, okay? No matter what y'all say about New York, this is all you got to even Google. How many police officers are there in New York City? Okay, my bad. This is just the city of New York. There's 36,000. If you ever been to New York City, you say, nigga, they got cops directing traffic. That's how many fucking cops they have. They have cops directing traffic. Like, in most rural cities, you're going to see, like, oh, they have, like, a traffic guard, or you could apply to be the person who puts up the stop sign. They have cops doing it in New York City. They have an abundance of cops. They spend the most on police officers. So when you are thinking you're in New York City saying, yeah, I'm killing niggas left and right, and you're putting it online, they're like, nigga, we got 15 task force ready to lock your ass up. Like, we have all the resources in the world. We have the most resources in the world, period, when it comes to NYPD, right? Like, okay, let me see. How many police officers in Chicago? $11,000. So you're talking about like damn near 40,000 to 11,000, 4 times the amount of police. Like, also, if you look at just the area of what New York City is, it's smaller than Chicago. It's smaller. Like, New York City is really cramped. And they have 4 times the amount of police in Chicago. So they're not playing. And when it comes to these rappers, everybody should know they have motherfucking, what do you call it again? New York, no, they have hip hop police. They have a division just watching rappers do dumb shit. They know who's beefing with who. So, for example, if rapper A and rapper B are beefing, you know what they're going to do? And someone has a video shoot. This is why Lil TJ keeps getting locked up. They know Lil TJ's life is in danger. They're hovering. They're not going to protect because their job isn't to make sure he doesn't die. But you know what they're going to do? Well, they just shot Lil TJ. He's back doing music and he's talking spicy again. Let's follow his ass. Every time he has to show up to a video shoot, he probably has a gun. Let's pull him over. Your taillight's out. Hey, we got to search you. Found you with a gun. You're locked up. That's how they move in New York City, okay? The reason why I'm giving you this whole type of education about New York City is because it's different. Because y'all keeps in Jacksonville and them places. It's no way you rap about 20 niggas you allegedly got killed, or 20 ops you killed, or 20 ops that got killed, and you're not in a RICO. It's no way. Not in New York City. Never. Ever. It's no way you rap about 20 niggas, bro. So you see how you see like Julio, Fulio, and Ace, Young and Ace, they do all that stuff, and in Chicago, that's because them police departments don't be on shit. New York City will not let that happen. Or you might think it's happening, but they'll stop it quite soon. I'm gonna pull up the indictment on this K-Flock thing. This indictment, and if you've seen many indictments I pulled up from New York, or any indictments at all, even if we're talking about Young Thug indictment, YSL in Atlanta, that goes back to 2012. 6ix9ine's Treyway indictment goes back to actually 2013 or 2014. Like, it might have been 2012 too. It was really early. GS9, they got locked up in 2017. Their crimes went back to 2013, right? So basically, the police know about all these things for a long time. Here's the difference, and this is why I say this is targeted at K-Flock. K-Flock's indictment goes back only literally 2 years. They don't have nothing in the indictment that talks about any other crime that K-Flock has done before 2020. What does that mean? Also, they're bringing up the same crime he's currently charged for. That's the feds literally saying, the state's about to let this nigga K-Flock go on some manslaughter shit. We got to make sure this motherfucker don't get out. So when the state fucks up, the feds end it. So essentially, if it wasn't for this, K-Flock, I probably thought that at max he would do 10 years. This new indictment is making sure that K-Flock ain't getting out in 30. So let me just kind of bring up what is going on. If you go to justice.gov, and by the way, this is where all the, all right, hold on. Indictments, justice. Indictments, hold on. There's a press release. Here we go. Let's see if we can find it. I gotta search for this motherfucker. Hold on, give me 1 second. And by the way, they unsealed this today. And essentially, what they're charging K-Flock with is something he's already charged with, but that's how the feds make sure you don't come home. Okay? Give me 1 second. Just gotta look this up right here. I don't know why it says. Okay. Here we go. 3 hours ago. This is a press release 3 hours ago from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Department of Justice, Southern District of New York. I keep telling you, this is like this is an all-star district when it comes to indicting rappers. They got 6ix9ine. They got Casanova. Bobby Shmurda and them was a state case, so it's not them. But anything that has to do with a federal, when the feds come in for New York gangs, it's probably going to go through the Southern District of New York. They got the best people working the shit. They don't lose, and they only like to give out football numbers. So if you want to catch 40 years, 50 years, 3 life sentences, these are the people who give you it, okay? They're not coming in like Fulton County and regular New York State with like, take 8 years. They want niggas 80 years, okay? So, again, it's my belief, they thought that K-Flock was probably going to eventually skate by not doing more than 10 years for a murder, and they said, fuck that, and they indicted K-Flock and 7 other individuals. Let me read it. Damian Williams, the U.S. State Attorney for the Southern District of New York, and Keechant L. Sewell, the Commissioner of the New York City Police Department, announced the unsealing of indictment, charging, and by the way, he's the head person charged, K-Flock. Kevin Perez, a.k.a. K-Flock, a.k.a. KK, a.k.a. K. Devin Mason, I've never heard of these other guys, BJ. Irvin Beeman, a.k.a. EJ. Nicholas Johnson, a.k.a. Nick. Sean Smith, a.k.a. Sticky. And Josie Castro, a.k.a. Jesse, with racketeering conspiracy and other crimes related to their membership in Sevside. So apparently they're in a gang called Sevside. I don't be knowing what they talking about. Or DOA. Okay, I've heard him say DOA. Okay. I thought DOA was dead on arrival. I know this shit was a gang. Holy. A street gang based in the Bronx. On January 26, 2023, okay, so they basically filed this on then. A superseded indictment was unsealed with Zaymuna. Okay, so there's another guy here. I feel like I've seen his name before. Zaymuna. Who is this? Zaymuna, a.k.a. Zay, and Michael Grant, a.k.a. AP, with racketeering and other crimes related to their membership in the third side of gang in the Bronx, blah, 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 closely affiliated with Seventh Side. Perez was also charged with gang-related murder of Huascar. Like, I think it's Oscar Martinez or something of the sort, but I think this is his government name. How do you say this? Huascar? Who was shot to death on December 16, 2021 in the Hamilton Heights section of Upper Manhattan. By the way, he's already charged for this. I'm telling you, they're giving him this indictment that when you see K Flock next free, he's old and gray. That's what they're trying to do. Perez, Mason, blah, 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 are further charged with da, 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 da. All right, cool. Okay. Let me see. All right. So these are the crimes they're saying that Seventh Side and Third Side engaged in, right? Perez murdered this guy. Perez and whatever shot in 2020. Somebody did a shootout. Then Gant, look, remember I told you, this indictment is so thin, it has 2 years of activity that they're going to put these guys away for life. 2 years. So for 2 years of what they call gang activity, I'm telling you, when it comes to Bobby Shmurda, they had about like 6-7 years. When it came to 6ix9ine, they had like damn near almost 8-9 years. For this indictment, they have 2 years of crime, which means they're acting swiftly that K Flock don't get back on the streets, if you ask me. Now, I could be wrong. A chart consists of the names of defendants who were charged, whatever. The statutory minimum and maximum penalties are prescribed by Congress, blah, blah, blah. Now, what this means here is if you are found guilty of any of these things, whether you take a plea or if you plead guilty to that charge or you get found guilty of that charge, the sentencing guidelines are way more stricter in federal court than state court. The judge cannot go below the mandatory minimum. Cannot. Unless you snitch. There's no other way. This is why snitching is really easy to define when it comes to feds. Because in the feds, you could know if a nigga snitch. If you didn't beat your charge and you're charged with murder, how did you get out of jail? If you ain't get out on appeal or some other shit, how did you get out? The only way to get sentenced to anything below usually life, right? Or at least these charges, because I don't know if just murder gives you life. You would have to cooperate. So when you cooperate, the prosecutor basically says, great, we gave you some McDonald's, and you told us what we needed to know, and you're willing to cooperate on the stand. And after you got on the stand, they write a letter to the judge. It's called a 5K1 letter. The judge looks at it and reviews it with a bunch of other things like testimony from your girlfriend, from your mama, from your high school teacher, say you were a good boy. Also, the victims get to basically say how much you terrorized them. And then the judge is going to come up with a sentence. And usually the 5K1 letter, well, not usually, the 5K1 letter is the only thing that grants the judge the leeway to go below the mandatory minimum. So, for example, 6ix9ine was facing damn near 40 years in jail, 40 years in prison, 40 plus, right? If he got found guilty on every charge, he's doing 40, okay? And he could get out with 15% off if he's a good boy in jail. So just think about 40. What's 85% of 40? You would have to do that amount of time if he didn't tell. I'll calculate it right now. 40 times 85%. So 6ix9ine would have had to done 34 years at least. And I think it was like 49 years. So let's do 49. 49 times 0.85. 49 times 0.85. Yeah, so 6ix9ine would have had to serve 41 years in jail for him to get out, right? If he did not cooperate. So you could imagine cooperation was a pretty easy decision for him. Like, you know what I mean? And, everybody talk about snitching, but like, again, only the federal courts are very strict with how they deal with shit. In state courts, you're going to have people like Gunna who says, yo, I'm not working with the government, but you got out in 6 months. You know what I mean? It's hard to decipher if you told when it's state, right? It's black and white when it's federal. So you'll have Gunna get out in 6 months with a new